Hey guys, how's it going? So, do you like being lied to? Do you just have a thing for companies and manufacturers and communities lying to you repeatedly over and over and over and over and over and over? Today we're going to talk about the two greatest offenders in our arena. The two that seem to be full of the most lies, the most betrayal, the most mental gymnastics, and the most cognitive dissonance in this entire industry. Of course, we're talking about two of my very favorite things. One of them is Fender. The other one is Chibsons. I guess we'll go ahead and start with Chibsons. Now, we've talked about them on this channel many times. But to reiterate, what is a Chibson? It's a counterfeit. It's a fake. It's an illegally sold copy of a stolen IP with a stolen brand name, a stolen model name, a stolen patented design, and whether it's disclosed or not, it is illegal to sell it. It is literally the incarnation of a lie. It is a product that bears a logo that is a lie. It is a product that bears a model name that is a lie. And it is a product that bears a heritage, a playability expectation, a sound expectation, and an appearance expectation that are all lies. Now, we've talked about it many times. But what do you get when you buy one of these things? Well, first of all, you're funding an illegal operation. But second of all, you're going to have mystery junk wood on both the body, the neck, and the fingerboard. You're going to have mystery lead-infused biohazard fret wire, mystery lead-infused biohazard paint. You're going to have pickups that are made of aluminum foil, and they're going to sound terrible. They're going to feedback terribly. You're going to have knobs that are put in the wrong place. You're going to have fret ends that are probably sticking out. And the guitar is going to weigh about 3 pounds. And when it's all said and done, you will have paid about $350 for this lie. There's a second part of this lie, though. And it's not just the product. It's not just the seller. It's the community that supports these things. This community, I honestly, I want to say I can't believe that it exists, but if you just take a look around our world right now, it's not surprising that a community would rise up. The hill that they've chosen to die on is the hill of mystery junk wood with chocolate frets. They'll say things like, oh, if you just replace the pickups, if you just replace the tuners, if you just file the frets, if you just get it set up, if you just replace everything on the entire guitar, it's just as good as any Gibson. Why? Not everyone can afford a $7,000 Gibson. That's what this is for. I mean, the false binary that they've created, which is Gibson or counterfeit, gives away the intellect levels of these people, okay? They're ignoring the fact that there are things like LTD by ESP. The fact that there's maybe Squire. The fact that there's the import Kramer models. The fact that there are smaller brands that aren't name brands that make stuff in this price range. Epiphone. They ignore all that. The only answer to not being able to afford a $7,000 guitar is a counterfeit. But why I have to buy the counterfeit though, because I'm sticking it to Gibson. Gibson deserves it. They deserve to lose my money. They deserve for me to go buy a counterfeit. You hate the company so much that you must own a guitar that has that company's name on it? Think about that for a second. It's unbelievable. And this whole idea that all Gibsons cost $7,000 is just ridiculous to me. Just admit that you don't have any money. Look, it's okay to not have a lot of money. It's okay to not be able to just go out and buy a Gibson right now. But you're kind of giving it away about why you might not have very much money. It might have something to do with your intellect. Saying things like, well, I can't afford it. So, $650 for a studio used is so incomprehensibly expensive to me that I'm going to pick an imaginary number and say that all Gibsons cost that much. That says a hell of a lot more about you than it does about people who bash Chibsons. Okay? So, that's the first bucket of lies. We need to compare that to another bucket of lies that just continues to grow. And that's Fender. Fender has this heritage, this aura, right? This history, this expectation of what they should be. They've got a standard that they have set, right? Fender Stratocaster. Pretty simple, right? Fender Stratocaster. You just want a regular Fender Stratocaster. So you come to Fender's website. Standard is the first thing you see, right? This is the standard that Fender has set. They're telling you that this Fender Stratocaster is the standard. Take any run-of-the-mill Fender Stratocaster ever made, from any era, any trim level, any origin. This standard is meant to fill those shoes. And then you come down and look at what you get for $629. And we're not going to open it and look at the specs because we've already done that like 8 times. But basically, you're going to get a really terribly made neck. You're going to get a very light body. You're going to get a trim that's installed poorly that won't stay in tune. It's a 2-point trim made in the Squier factory, selling for $630. Fender has decided that this guitar is the one that we're meant to compare to something like my 79 Fender Stratocaster. That was considered a standard at one time. My 94 and my 2000 and my 2006 Mexican Strats. Those were considered standard at one time. You're telling me that this non-skunk stripe garbage guitar, which I proved was garbage on this channel. I actually bought one and reviewed it. That's the standard now? You're telling all your customers that this is the same as that, when it categorically is not. That's the first lie, okay? Second lie, look at this. Let's say that we want to go buy a Fender Strat. You don't know anything about Fender right now. You want to buy a Fender Strat. So you go to Electric Guitars. What in the name of hell is this? Player 2 Modified, Ultra 2, Vintage 2, Professional 2, Performer, Player 2, Vintera, Artist Signature, Standard. And they're not even in order. Why is Artist Signature just above Standard but below Vintera? Why is Player 2 above Vintera? What in the world is this? It's not even alphabetical. It's like the person who made this website just took all the models, put them in a hat, shook the hat, threw all the models up in the air, and then grabbed them out of the air and typed them, and then grabbed it out of the air and then typed it to make this menu. It doesn't make any damn sense. There's no consistency here at all. It's unbelievable. Fender's lying to you about what the guitars even are. They're lying to you about what they're worth. I mean, look, I understand capitalism dictates things are worth what people are willing to pay. But are people really willing to pay this? If they are, that's why I'm making this video. You have to stop buying the lies from Fender. You have to stop buying the lies of Chibsons. You have to. Here's what you do. You got 2 good options. Option 1, Guitar Center. Fender Stratocaster. Okay? Used, sort, low to high. Ignore these first few because they're not actually Fenders. Ignore these Squires. Look at this. Look at these prices. $319.99, $379, $399, $399, $399, $399, $399, $399, $399, $399. This is what you should do. It's a better guitar. Fender gets $0 from you, and you do get a standard. You get something that is worthy of being called a Strat. Now, obviously, you should go play these things if you can before you order them. But when you buy from a place like Guitar Center, you can return it if it's not good. It leaves no room for something like this. $629. That's the cheapest one, by the way. And it is basically just a Squire with Fender logo. But you have another option. And in my opinion, this option exposes the lies of Chibson, and it exposes the lies of Fender so well and so finally. We talked about this last week, but I want to talk to you again about T's guitars, okay? Yes, I personally know the owner. Yes, we're friends. He doesn't know I'm making this video. He doesn't know I'm going to talk about his company. He doesn't know that I'm going to use him as an example right now. He has zero idea. This is not a sponsored or paid opinion. None of my opinions are sponsored or paid, for that matter. Here's the lie. We're going to look at the exact guitar that we did on the channel last week, okay? In-house Pro setup for $50. That puts the total at $229.95. And what do you get for this? You get a full thickness body. You get stainless steel frets. You get a sculpted neck joint. You get it personally intonated and set up for you by a human being who is talking to you throughout this process. What string gauge do you like, buddy? How do you like your action? How much relief do you usually like? If you can't answer those questions, he'll do it for you and give you the best thing he can give you for $229.95. Tell me a guitar that Fender makes that has stainless steel rolled frets, a personal setup, a sculpted neck pocket, and a direct line to the owner of the company whenever you want. For any price. Zero. They have zero guitars with all of those things. They have a couple guitars with a sculpted neck pocket and stainless steel frets. Those cost over $2,000. The Ultra Luxe is the only guitar that Fender makes, if they still even make it, that has a sculpted neck and stainless frets. This is part of the lie. Because for $229.95, you're getting a complete package that is a good guitar. At Fender, if you spent that much money, you got to go to Squire. And then we're going to sort this by low to high. What do you get from Squire for $229.95? Let's see. For $229.95, you can get a bullet Strat. What's a bullet Strat? It is made of very, very light, cheapo, junko wood. It's got a thin body. Did I mention that the T's has a full thickness body? You're going to get really bad fretwork. You're going to get a really bad neck. You're going to get tuners that don't stay in tune. If you're lucky enough to get a trim, it's not going to stay in tune. Do they even have one with a trim anymore? 200 and... where? The Sonic? 230. There. 230. Objectively worse in every way and more expensive. And then if you go up again to the next model up, what are we talking about? The Affinity? What's the Affinity have? The Affinity has a full thick... Oh, no, not anymore. They had a full thickness body for a minute. Still, thin and lightweight body. A terrible, woefully unstable 2-point tremolo. You don't get stainless steel frets. You don't get rolled neck. You don't get a sculpted neck heel. You get terrible tuners. You don't get any TLC whatsoever. And that is now at $300. If we go to the next one up, you got to spend at least $450 to get a good guitar from Fender now. Period. Classic Vibes are good guitars. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. These are pretty close to what the old Mexican standards used to be. Pretty close. $450. But what did we just find? Over here at Guitar Center. For less than that, you can get an actual Mexican Fender. It's all just a lie. All of it. All of it is just a lie. And when you got guys like Torsten, my friend who owns this Tease Guitars company, this is where you need to be spending your money, okay? With Chibsons, they're mass-produced with terrible QC overseas. They're illegal to sell. They lie about what they are. They're objectively very, very bad guitars. And even if you put everything in them, they're still counterfeit, and they're still made of junk wood. You can't replace the wood. You can't. You can't really replace the frets. If you're good enough to replace frets, why are you buying a Chibson, right? And people give them a pass because it's an import. What do you expect? It's cheaply made. What do you expect? You know what I expect? I expect this. Now. Forever now. I expect this. This is an import. This is quote-unquote mass-produced. This uses CNC machines. How, for $229.95, are they able to give you something so good that comes from the same environment as the Chibson guitars do? And the Squier guitars. And there's the other thing that blows my mind. If we go to the other side of this fence and talk about Fender again for a second. Fender's charging you $629 for an Indonesian guitar made in the Squier factory that they're calling a Fender with objectively worse features in every way, and it costs more than double what this costs. Fender actually, literally, is charging double or triple the price because of what's on the headstock. Normally when people use that argument, it's because they don't like people who have nice things. They don't want people to have nice things. Oh, well, you spending all that money just for a name on a headstock. Because they're not able to understand or detect nuance. They're not good enough players to feel and hear the difference. This time, though, it's true. Fender is charging you all of this money because they're lying to you. They are selling you a Squier with Fender on the headstock. And they've decided that that's enough to warrant charging you so much more when there are alternatives out there like completely other brands that are known, like Epiphone or Kramer imports. You can buy a used Mexican, or you could go with the little guy. Because the little guy right now, if you want something new, is probably going to be your very best bet.